that the wonderful 2019 Pesach, Passover season, is in our past, we are naturally counting and looking forward to Shavuot, also known as Pentecost, meaning count 50 in Greek, as we see in the New Testament. And this year it will be on Sunday, June 9th, according to our modern Gregorian calendar system, where many of us are going to gather and come from different parts of the West Coast and maybe elsewhere to Erosi, the group out in Erosi, California. And we should also start planning and making reservations for the 2019 Sukkot, also known as Tabernacles, the Feast of Tabernacles, plus that 8th day, all 8 days. Now, if you have not made any 2019 commitments of where you are going to observe this biblical and prophetic feast of Sukkot for 2019, as it is a shadow of things to come, as we see in Colossians chapter 2, verse 17, and the other feasts as well, and even the Sabbaths and the new moons all have this spiritual symbolism of much greater things to come in the future. So they're kind of like anniversaries of great things in the past that the Most High has done for His people, and it's very intimate and romantic to Him, and also those who love Him. And if you have not made any reservations and you can make it to Northern California this fall in October, then hopefully you'll be open to what I have to present in this video. Why not have a dream vacation come true along with the biblical feast, a retreat for those 8 days of the Feast of Tabernacles plus the 8th day? With others who love the Torah and Yeshua, also known as Jesus. Yes, you can have your feast cake and eat it too, if I may use that term, with Yosemite National Park out in Yah's majestic creation for feasting and vacationing, balancing it out together to rejoice. So this remaining video is going to be a collection of short sneak preview videos collected together, jam-packed, regarding where we have planned and have made reservations already, and they also some group discounts. There's first of all a worship hall for gatherings and teachings and worship, and we have an itinerary with that, and an indoor conference hall, so regardless of the weather, it's big enough. As I mentioned, group reservation opportunities for some savings on camping, RVs, motels, cottages, and there's even a stone cabin for any of you out there who would like to reserve it for a reasonable price. And so this video will be driving through this massive High Sierra Canyon with high walls and cliffs and mountains on each side, going into Yosemite National Park and the valley, where we have also planned during the feast half-day trips on the non-Sabbath days to Glacier Point as one location, beautiful overlook there, panoramic view of the whole valley and the mountains around it. And there's also easy hiking, even wheelchair accessible easy hiking for some of the majestic waterfalls and sightseeing with plenty of valley fun and food, cafes and restaurants in the valley here and there. So we'll have physical feasting with spiritual feasting, physical and spiritual food. So relax and enjoy this remaining video followed by an attachment of 22-minute spiritual priority message, a spiritual meat message, if you haven't watched it already, that I recorded in Yosemite back in March of this year, 2019, for this holy feast coming up in October, from October 14th through the 21st, and also arriving early on the 13th, that Sunday, would be ideal as that first Shabbaton begins on Sunday at sunset on the 13th of October, and staying through the whole feast with us. There are amazing blessings that the scriptures also include for keeping all 8 days. And for all of you who are living lively sacrifices unto Him. Really high mountains, steep canyon, cliffs. Avalanche covered the road on the other side of the river, so we have to cross a bridge to get back to the left side. Now we're getting on a bridge to go back to the right side. Yeah, we just don't want to drive too rapidly around here, right? Too furiously. A crystal clear emerald green river with some little beaches and a few stops along the way through the canyon into the valley of Yosemite National Park. Here's the outdoor view of the conference room with the lodge, and then there's the indoor swimming pool right next door to the conference room inside this beautiful canyon. Because the canyon has such high mountains and steep mountains, we don't get cellular service, not even Verizon, but there is some Wi-Fi access that costs about $10 per day for 1 or 2 devices. And can have access through that, limited, or drive 10 or 15 minutes away for Verizon, and there's the valley into Yosemite National Park for good Wi-Fi for all cell phones down in the valley, about 20 minutes drive away. Here is a nice conference room, maximum capacity of 200 people. And there's plenty of room for seating. We'll have presentations, a screen, big enough screen for PowerPoint presentations, video from a projector. And if there's less than 200 people, we've got enough room. We want to have floor space for some Hebraic praise dance music. Definitely music and praise music. Nice big kitchen. Look how nice and large this kitchen is. Refrigerators, freezers, ice machine, stove, and a nice open up window for any kind of service. How about the restrooms? Really nice restrooms in here. Here's the men's restroom. Nobody's here right now. Here's a nice handicapped, very handicap friendly. And there's the other ones here for the men. And how about the women's? The women's usually have nicer restrooms, don't they? Next to a little storage closet. Uh-oh, somebody turned the lights out here. Wow, 2 handicap. Looks like there's plenty of space here for special needs. And there's a nice picnic area right across the street we'll go to, with a nice river going by and a canyon. So you must register in advance to come here because it's 200 people capacity. You can register through the ministry website, graftin.org. You go to the registration page on the top left-hand side link. How about a little bit more about the kitchen? I went through it real quickly, but here we are going to go through another little walkthrough with Romero here, who is one of the workers here. Let's say hi again. Sorry.
Hi there. My name is Ramiro, and I'm the head of housekeeping on this facility. We had a full kitchen, 2 stove oven, ice maker, refrigerator. You have all the utensils on the cabinets here. You are welcome to use our facility fully. When we have a good group, we like to help the much we can to keep it enjoyable. Been working with all my family here.
Wow, you got Jose. I met Jose. He's your brother?
Yes.
And do you have other family members here?
I do. I had my wife works here, my son, my daughter work here. They're doing different events. One works from this, one works housekeeping. My brother's maintenance. My wife is a super housekeeping inspector. So this is a great family place.
Wow, it's a great family place, run by a small family. And then Gabby's the group manager.
She is a great person. I have been with Gabby for 6-7 years. We work together in any event, whatever she requests, we help her. And then any needs our guests need, we make the effort to make it work.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. Here at the motel, there's a very warm, comfortably warm, indoor swimming pool with a beautiful canyon across the street and a river we'll go to next with a picnic area. But not only is this available to anyone who comes and officially registers with us, has access even if you're staying in the campgrounds or other hotels, as long as you're part of our group, you have access to this indoor swimming pool and hot tub with restrooms right here for changing. Nice artwork in here. There's upper and lower Yosemite Falls in one painting. Half dome with, looks like Mirror Lake maybe. There's Vernal Falls, about a 2-mile hike, very vigorous hike though, hilly, bypassing Nevada Falls. Actually, Nevada Falls is another 2 miles past that. A lot of breathtaking views and experiences here. And just walking across the street, like I said, there's a river with a picnic area, little gazebo, some picnic tables, and a nice river. We could do living waters, swimming, fun. There's no big waterfalls to worry about falling over down low in the canyon. We could do some tevilah, mikvah, or if you like the Greek word, baptism, in the name of the Messiah. A great place for Sukkot and so many other things, for families, singles alike. Might as well do a little walk down to the riverbed. Another picnic table. Watch your step. Taking the shortcut. There's an easier path up there coming down, ramping on down. Crystal clear, gorgeous green river. At the RV campground there are cabins. There's one up there, sleeps 4 people. And then there's little white canvas cabins that are 2 people. And the stone cabin is up the hill there, so there's other options other than RVs. These are about 100 to 130 per night. This is the RV parking here, not good for big RVs, but the bigger RVs could come down here with benches, and they've got hookups. Here's the camping area with bear lockers, benches. There's going to be barbecue pits. But the winter storms were rough this year. 70-mile-an-hour winds, heavy rain, and even snow, so they're going to have to do a lot of restoration between now and the summertime. Is all of that a good enough little taste of the wonderful, spacious group conference hall for daily gatherings, worship, teachings, fellowship, music of praise, and even Hebraic dance? If we have the talent and the interest and the skills, those who like to teach it and those who know it to lead it, it would be wonderful to see what the Father, what the Most High calls people out of this world and draws them to this location to bear His name. But if those short videos connected together are not enough, then please shoot us off an email for any of your questions or your comments, or if you have any detailed requests or special needs, you can email us at theTorahTruthSeekers@gmail.com, or you can email at graftinto@gmail.com for any details. And there's also our registration page for registering for the feast, and then you'll get detailed information. There's questions for you to answer through the registration link there. And so coming up next in this video, I will take you through a short tour inside Yosemite National Park for just some of the tip of the iceberg. Just a tip of the iceberg valley highlights. Only a few minutes drive away from our central meeting hall and accommodations at the location where we're reserved. Here in Yosemite National Park, don't be surprised if you come across deer, friendly deer. Here's a small family. Sure are a lot of trees in Yosemite Valley for walking on, even taking a nap on, as long as you don't fall to the left or the right. You got to stay on the straight and narrow. A nice, beautiful forest walk just below the upper Yosemite Falls, heading to the lower Yosemite Falls. Nice flat trail, short hike. Good for even wheelchairs. Free shuttles around the valley too. Here we are at the lower Yosemite Falls. Easy flat trail hike, wheelchair accessible. In March here we've got some good snow melt going on. Still snow in the valley. Oh, there we got cathedrals up there. We've got Half Dome through the trees. Can't see because of the trees. Let's get a better view of this falls here. Lower Yosemite Falls. Here is one of the breathtaking rest stops in Yosemite Valley. You got Bridal Veil Falls right over there on the other side of the meadow. El Capitan Mountain. Here's a quick little park. Stop and park as you're on your way back out of the park. A nice museum here in Yosemite National Park. Let's go in and see what's inside. Oh, little gift shop. Here's a Native American. Ooh. Oh. Looks like a Native American dancing. Oh, wow. A lot of history here in the Yosemite National Park. Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, they weren't here in the valley, because the valley was not part of the national park when the valley was part of the state of California. Now it is part of the national park since 1996.
Yes, many cafes and cafeterias in the valley. This is just one of the many. Different types of food. As you have seen in this collection of videos, they are just some of the experience we've captured on film. So many other magnificent waterfalls throughout Yosemite National Park. A gorgeous river gently running through the valley, winding through and around, and there's endless breathtaking sightseeing opportunities, places to park on the sides of the road with space for that, and parking lots, and there's even a free valley shuttle system that runs around every 15 to 30 minutes. You can jump on a shuttle and travel around and get back to your original location as it circles around continually through the day. And there's also magnificent historical museums, cafes, wildlife, and so much more. So please register soon if you're interested. There's no full commitments. If you want the details on the motels, the RV and car campground, where everyone can be next door to each other if they want, with other believers keeping the feast as well. We have a group campsite for up to 100 people. There's discounted group rates at the motel, the main conference hall motel, and access to the indoor swimming pool for everyone registered as well. And kids just love swimming pools for a little downtime, a little recreation time as we transition between activities and meetings and gatherings. So please register online for more details. You can go to www.graftin.org. That's graftin.org, where you can go to our register for 2019 Holy Days. Scroll down till you see the Feast of Sukkot, also known as Tabernacles. And if you've not watched this very important spiritual Sukkot Tabernacles message, filmed and recorded live inside the valley of Yosemite National Park this past March of 2019, well, here you go. Here we are in Yosemite National Park, down on the valley floor, in a nice meadow, with a nice stream down back behind me with the upper Yosemite Falls. As we pan this way, you can see Half Dome through the valley and down the river, with plenty of snow around on the higher altitudes and even some down here. March of 2019, we had a great snow fall over the last couple months through this winter, which is going to make some great waterfalls as it slowly melts and creates lakes in the upper elevations, which trickle down through the waterfalls through the summertime and even goes into the fall. Not only is it important to be in temporary dwelling places during his appointed Sukkot, we also say tabernacles, because he is tabernacling with us out in some of the most beautiful environments of his creation. Yosemite National Park is known for one of the most gorgeous, majestic, even coveted vacation locations in the world and around the world. People come from all over the world to vacation here. When they come from Europe and Asia and the Middle East, and when they come to vacation in the United States of America, Yosemite National Park is a wise investment with their vacation. Many of them come here. If you come here, you'll find many languages, and perhaps half or more of the people here, their native tongue is not English, because there's so much coming from all over the world. And have Sukkot, this feast, out in nature. It's a great way to worship and connect with our Creator, combining the maximum spiritual with the physical for rejoicing and rejuvenating. John Muir once said, a famous quote of his is, "Everybody needs beauty as well as bread, places to play in and pray in, where nature may heal and give strength to the body and soul alike." Of course, nature alone is not our ultimate healer. I'm not trying to say that, and I don't think John Muir was trying to say that, but it was all made by our ultimate healer. And the physical is helpful as we connect and pray and worship and live and rejoice with our healer out in what he has created. Not by man's hands, but so much. Most of it out here is by his hand. Do you know the Sukkot promised blessing for keeping All the 7 days of Sukkot, plus that 8th day that's connected to it, is also a Shabbaton. It's like a Sabbath rest, a rest day, not quite as the same exactly as a weekly Sabbath. As it says, as one example in the book of Devarim, also more commonly known as Deuteronomy, chapter 16 and verses 13 through 15, we see an amazing promise. 7 days you are to keep the festival for, and I put that holy name there, letters, the Yud, He, Vav, He. Many say Yahuwah, Yahweh, Yahweh, depending on how you like those vowels. I'll say, how about Yah for short? The Yah of your Elohim, in the place He, Yah, your Elohim, will choose. And so we see here that He had plans long ago, not to just have it in one place, but wherever He chooses, because Yah, your Elohim, will bless you in all your crops and in all your work. So not just agriculture, but all your work, so that you will be full of joy. Now that takes faith and living sacrifices. Yes, faith and living sacrifices. So we are calling out for those who can make it to the Yosemite National Park this fall in October. It'll begin at sunset, October 13th, the Sunday at sunset. And then the first day of Sukkot goes through Monday at sunset. And the 8th day will be, of course, 8 days later. And we're going to keep all of those days together for those who can and will. And will have the faith to do so. And I know for many years of doing this, since I was a kid growing up, 1975, if you want to date me, I'm not giving you my birth date there, but I've tried not doing all 8 days, and the financial blessings and the chastening of the Most High told me I should keep all 8 days. So I've gone back and forth. I've tested the waters, and I encourage you to test it too. Now, just keeping one commandment in the Torah is not going to save you. It's not going to make you a millionaire or a billionaire. I'm not trying to say some kind of a prosperity gospel, but if you step out in faith with Him, Most High, in His promises, and you do it with a right heart, you will just wait and watch and see the blessings. Test it out. As I gave a teaching recently this year, serving Mammon versus the Messiah. The video teaching was uploaded onto YouTube, and I retitled it calling Masters. Now, there's two masters, Messiah versus Mammon. And Mammon is a broad topic, as I covered in the teaching. Who is the ultimate supreme master for you? Can He provide for you when you obey Him? Who are we serving or submitting to the most and more? Of course, we're taking baby steps, patiently improving each other, doing what we can to follow His way each year, do a little bit better. You may not be able to do it all this year or last year, to be called out, steps, still coming out of this world. We may not be out enough, but let's work on it year after year and feast after feast. Improve the best we can. Because we are calling out living sacrifices to this Feast of Sukkot near and inside Yosemite National Park this fall. At the Apostle Shaul, most people know him as Paul, and in the scriptures, in the translations, translated as Paul. He says in Romans chapter 12, verses 1 and 2, I beseech you, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of the Most High, Yah, that you present your bodies a living sacrifice, living for Him, of course, holy, acceptable unto Him, which is your reasonable service. That Greek word, the Strong's 3050, is logikos. Comes where we get the Latin word logic. It's your logical service. It's your intelligent. You're doing this intelligently, logically, not just blind faith, but you're walking in as you can see and plan ahead for and do the best you can. Verse 2, and do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed. We are to have transformation by the renewing of our minds, that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of the Most High. Yes, His will is also to keep His feast. We see in Zechariah chapter 14, right, verses 16 through 19, a prophecy of the Messianic kingdom where everybody on earth, Gentiles, Egyptians, all the families of the earth will be keeping the Feast of Sukkot. We can see all those days will be observed and kept in the future as a prophecy, and also in the past, and now also in the present. Why not the present? If we're going to do it in the past, present, future, it's all His will. Also observing all the 8 days, when you count that one holy day that's after the 7 days of Sukkot and Tabernacles, to do the perfect will. Of course, perfect sacrificing according to His will and in a balanced way, balancing out not just a dream vacation or a social club. It's not the Feast of Tabernacles, although it's good to travel as you can and to rejoice out in His creation. It's not just a social club or a Tabernacles or Tabernacles. It's not just worship and teachings only. In some places focus just on mostly on the teachings, and they don't have much physical rejoicing and getting out into nature and enjoying these things. We want to balance it out. Worship is great. Teachings are great. We want to balance that out. We've got an itinerary online that you can see, and there's room for speakers, qualified speakers, to sign up and to submit outlines to fit within the time constraints that we'll be having. But we're also going to be having days where we're doing outings and retreats at Glacier National, not Glacier National Park, but Glacier Point. Glacier National Park in Montana. But Glacier National Point, there's Upper Yosemite Falls where we're at here, there's Half Dome, there's Bridal Falls. Bridal Falls is a little one and easy to get to. And Lower Yosemite Falls, you can't even see because the trees back there are in the way. Easy half-mile, quarter-mile hike, flat ground. It's good, wheelchair friendly here in the valley for a lot of things for handicapped people. If you have special needs, let us know in advance so we can be prepared and plan ahead for that. And it's not just a feast of rejoicing, right? Rejoicing is a commandment for Sukkot. It is an actual part of the commandment when you look at the scriptures. As we said, we are to rejoice during this time. And so, but it's not just that. We're not going to just focus mostly on that. You know, we're balancing it all out, serving and sacrificing. Anyone can serve as they're able according to their gifts and their talents. And you can sign up for any gifts and talents that you might have, music, worship, dance, Hebraic dance. We want to have it all. So, Him with each other to become one as He is one. Doesn't it say that in the book of John, Yochanan, chapter 17, and in verses 11 and in verse 21, and in that context, He wants us all to become one as He is one. And we get out into His creation. It's helpful. It's a helpful tool, balancing it all out. And as many people invest a lot of money into just family vacations and dream vacations, yes, that's great, but why not combine it with His holy timing of feast that symbolizes His kingdom? And His kingdom is compared to mountains, and His kingdom is the highest mountain. higher than these Yosemite mountains. So when you're in this valley and you're looking at these high cliffs that go up thousands of feet, the valley floor about 4,000 feet altitude and the tops of these mountains getting over 8,500 feet altitude, it is a glorious way to rejoice out with Him. It's helpful. It gives us a little boost. Of course, if you're doing it without His Spirit, it's not nothing, right? If you're not having love, if we're not going to have love for one another, it's not worth anything. It's foolish, as we see in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. We call it the love chapter. We do have to have love and learn to get along, but to get out in nature, in a natural, organic way. Oh, well, okay, we gotta have a little car here and there, and we gotta use petrol fuel, and we're gonna stay in accommodations. We've got motels, hotels. There's an RV campground. RVs or car camping. We're going to group everybody who wants to camp in the same area so that your neighbors will be feast keepers too, not just any strange neighbor or neighbors that are vacationing. We're going to keep people grouped together the best we can, and we're getting group reservations and everything organized for those who can invest and sacrifice, to be living sacrifices in faith and obedience, mixing and balance the two together. Faith without works is not very good, as James chapter 2 says. And works without faith, we cannot please Him. And faith is a substance of things that we don't really see yet all the time. It's not evidence, but we know we can do it because we can do all things in Him who strengthens us, even financially. If we just pray and put our hearts out to Him. Maybe we got to fast about some of these things and give our heart to Him, give our ways to Him, our actions, our deeds, our heart, from our soul, our mind, and our body. The Shema, we say Shema Israel. Shem is name, right? Shem, His name, His authority. It's more than just hearing. It is acting when we hear. It's reacting the way He wants us to react and act. And we want to do that even with His holy feast days, which are perpetual, which will be eternal, and they'll be on the earth. As long as there are physical human beings, His days will be worshipped. And what about Isaiah? That prophecy, right? Isaiah 66 in chapter 22, verse 23, it says, with a new heavens and a new earth. It says all flesh, not just the Jewish people, it doesn't say Israel. All flesh will come and worship before me. Now, those aren't my words. Those are His words. I just quoted, of course. And how about a little shofar for that one? It's Tekiah. Shabariam. Teruah. And Teruah Gedolah for Shalom. Little extra there. Don't mean to just toot my own horn. Just a little taste of what it'll be like to keep Sukkot down here. The waterfalls aren't as powerful and wet. You don't get as soaked in the fall as you do in the early spring and when the snow is melting and there's more snow to melt at the same time. But it will be great regardless. How can you not rejoice? How can you not heal with more faith? Being out amongst people who have the faith. And we will have prayer sessions daily, anointings for those who want anointing and healing, deliverance, anybody who wants deliverance. This Sukkot, we're going to focus on deliverance, healing, and whatever people need miraculous involvement in their life, we're going to have sessions for those who request it. We're not going to force it. We're not going to put pressure on anybody to confess anything or to want to be anointed. This is all be voluntary. We're going to put that in the schedule in the evenings at certain times, and not just to be a show or a public thing. We could do it privately upon elders and even anyone with faith in the gift of healing. It doesn't matter what your age, what your sex, whether you're male, female. You're welcome. And if you got gifts of the Spirit, you want to share it in any way, just let us know. And we want to have an enjoyable feast. Shalom Aleichem.